Welcome to Olympian Water Testing, giving you the best in water analysis. Today we're looking at medical news today, mercury poisoning. You need to know the symptoms and the treatment. As we know, mercury is a heavy metal, but not all heavy metals are the same. Some of them can be quite detrimental, some of them in small amounts will cause no harm, and some of them have different effects. So mercury poisoning is the result of being exposed to too much mercury, either through the diet or the environment. And this can also be through the water you're drinking. But there's no way to know that unless you absolutely test it and make sure. Now, mercury is a heavy metal that is highly toxic to humans. Consuming food that contains mercury is the most common cause of mercury poisoning, and mercury poisoning can cause several symptoms and put the body at unnecessary risk. And these symptoms are quite detrimental once they manifest. So this is something you'll want to avoid. A person can prevent mercury poisoning by making changes to their diet and environment that expose and limit the exposure to the toxic metal. And also they can have their water periodically tested, because that's going to be a good way to know that their drinking water, which they're presumably using every day or almost every day, is safe. So what is mercury poisoning? Mercury is a natural occurring metal that is in many everyday products, and you might have not even thought of this, although they're in tiny amounts. While this limited exposure is usually considered safe, a buildup of mercury is highly dangerous. And mercury is a liquid at room temperature and readily vaporizes into the air around it. It is often a byproduct of the industrial process, such as burning coal for power. Vaporized mercury can make its way into the rain, soil, and the water, where it poses a risk to plants, animals, and humans, and ingesting or coming in contact with too much mercury can cause symptoms of mercury poisoning. So what are some symptoms that may manifest? Well, mercury can affect the nervous system, leading to neurological symptoms such as nervousness or anxiety, irritability or mood changes, numbness, memory problems, depression, and physical tremors. As the levels of the mercury rise in the body, more symptoms will appear, and these symptoms may vary depending on a person's age and exposure levels. Adults with mercury poisoning may experience such symptoms as muscle weakness, metallic taste in the mouth, nausea and vomiting, lack of motor skills or feeling uncoordinated, inability to feel in the hands, face, or other areas, changes in vision, hearing, or speech, difficulty breathing, difficulty walking or standing straight. Also, mercury can affect a child's early development, and children with mercury poisoning may show symptoms of impaired motor skills, problems thinking or problem solving, difficulties learning to speak or understanding language, issues with hand coordination, and being physically unaware of their surroundings. And also, mercury poisoning tends to develop slowly over time if a person comes into frequent contact with mercury. However, in some cases, mercury poisoning comes on quickly and is associated with a specific incident. Now, anyone who experiences the onset loss of mercury poisoning symptoms should call a doctor or poison control. Now, if it persists, it can also cause issues in intelligence, IQ, slow reflexes, damaged motor skills, paralysis, numbness, and symptoms of ADHD. Now, there's different places where it can come from. As we talked about shellfish, it can come from dental fillings. But one place that it can definitely come from, as said here, is your water. And sometimes it happens slowly over time. It's usually not all at once, although that can be the case. Usually methyl mercury or metallic mercury or whatever type of mercury happens to be in your environment will accumulate in you over time. That's why, if it's in your water specifically that you're using every day, it's always a good idea to have your water periodically tested and analyzed for high levels of mercury.